This is the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. It's presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. This week on the program, Keenan Konschak from the Mayport CG Patriots will be joining us, as our own James Martins will have a one-on-one conversation with the state champs and what it means for Mayport CG winning the State B girls basketball tournament. Andrew Sunberg of the Goodridge Grygla boys basketball team will be joining us as they start in earnest on Thursday for their section round matchup in the Minnesota postseason for boys hoops. Also from there, Adam Palczewski of the West Fargo Packers and Bart Manson of the Fargo Davies Eagles will be joining the conversation as we'll talk with both of them ahead of their state tournaments in AA coming up on Thursday at the Bismarck Event Center. And then Dustin Brodina will join the conversation as Devils Lake is making their way to the Region 2 Boys Basketball Championship at Mayville State on Thursday night. And our senior spotlight with Hannah Litzinger, who hit the game-winning three-pointer for Grand Forks Red River in the EDC Girls Basketball Championship, and Jocelyn Schiller as well. That's all to come on our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Again, Andrew Sunberg of Goodridge Grygla in a moment, but first, here's our one-on-one conversation. James Martins with the head coach of the Mayport CG Girls Basketball team.
On our Your Live Event Coaches Show here this evening, we're starting things off with the head coach of the Mayport CG State Champion girls basketball team, Patriots, in Keenan Konschak. And Keenan, first of all, thanks again for your time, not just in this show, but in previous shows. And it's been a wild ride from our initial interview with you in December to now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Number one, thank you guys too. It was great seeing you out in Jamestown. That was a great time. Like putting these girls on display, like I said, is pretty cool to see that the entire state gets to see what these girls can do. So yeah, thanks for your coverage all year too. That's been very cool.
When we talked in December, you mentioned kind of the keys that was going to be important to getting the girls to the state title was unselfish basketball, rebounding, limiting the turnovers. I have to feel like it was mission accomplished with all three of those things.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I know those are just the generic things that every coach says, but when you truly get after it, that's what it takes. And that you guys saw in that first round of the state tournament, we had 5 girls in double figures. So it's total unselfish basketball there too. And then, like I said, the way they worked together on defense, it was pretty seamless. Like there was very few times where we gave up easy baskets. And we talked about that too in the past. That it really causes those teams to struggle mentally, physically. By the time that fourth quarter rolls around, it's like, oh, what do we do? So yeah, we came together. Everything just seemed to be clicking and happening.
And you mentioned this back in December, you saw from the volleyball season that you thought, okay, we're going to take a step forward from where you guys were last year. But did you think that it was going to lead all the way to the state title?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like it depends on that senior class, right? There's some seniors that could just be they're good. Like they spent all their years working this hard, and then it comes down to the end of the year, and it's like, do we want to put that extra effort into to make this thing and get that goal that we've always set out to make? And some teams aren't able to do that, whether it's coaching, whether it's the community or whatever, but that was the exact opposite for this team. Our community, our seniors got together and they decided that they're going to take this and they're not going to back down for anything. They're going to be relentless in their pursuit. And you saw it in a couple of those games. There were some tough moments, especially in that championship game. Like we put all this work into all these years. We're not letting it slip away right now. So that was a huge fourth quarter for us and just a testament to those girls.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that state tournament. You mentioned something that I highlighted during the tournament, of the fact that your ladies are just seemingly doing things that teams don't usually do, having all 5 of their starters scoring double figures. You shut out a really good Sargent County team in the second quarter. You prevented EKM from getting a field goal until halfway through the second quarter. I mean, I asked you then, I'll ask you it again, just now that the season's all come and gone. How memorable, how special really is this senior unit for Mayport CG?
Yeah, that's funny because we do talk about ways that we're going to stop, the offenses on the other teams. And we've had scouting reports all year, but it really seemed like since that district tournament started, then even into the regional tournaments, they really started just completely focusing on those scouting reports a little bit, on just little things that we can do. Can we help off here? Can we not help off here? So like I said, we had those scouting reports all year, but they really focused on them in the tournament run. And then that was very special. That's how you get those runs going too. Like we've talked about this all year too. You can't just completely rely on your offense too. If your defense is always going to be there, there's going to be nights where you're not shooting very well, but your defense is going to make you pull through. And that was that state championship game too. We did not shoot very well. I think we started off 1 for 9 or something like that. So our defense allowed us to pull through. And then plus we can get some fast break layups out of it too if we create those turnovers. But against good teams, you're not going to get those turnovers. But against the very the poorer teams, you can leak out a little bit and get your offense going that way too a little bit.
Yeah, I mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Championship game, both teams shooting better, higher percentage-wise from the three-point line than from inside the three-point line. I don't know that I'll ever see that again.
Yeah, tough physical basketball, right? We worked on our drives too, and they were drivers too. It's very seldom you get teams that really drive to the basket like both those teams were. Coach Enzi does an amazing job with those girls, and we were playing against one of the best players in the state in Class B basketball, and Matea Mattern. So I thought the matchup was great. She guarded Riley Satcham, and Riley Satcham guarded her, and Riley got a little bit frustrated. She's got some foul trouble there a little bit, and I thought she came through in the fourth quarter, and maybe it helped out that she was in foul trouble. She got a little bit more rest, and then she was able to come through on the offensive side too. But yeah, just a testament to our team too, how she was in foul trouble, and the rest of her teammates stepped up.
Let's look ahead at not ahead actually since we're at the end, but let's look at the tournaments. And was there maybe a moment or two in that tournament where you think if we don't make this adjustment, if we don't make that play, if we don't make that shot, we're not winning the state title?
Oh yeah, so in that championship game, there was a number of moments. I think the score was 25-24. They just hit a big shot, a big three, I think it was, and their crowd is going nuts right behind us, and it's like, oh God, what do we do? But for me, that's something that we've done all year. In tough moments like that, we don't usually call timeouts in the state tournament. I don't know if people are aware, but you only get 3 timeouts in the second half, basically. So there's a lot of TV timeouts and stuff like that too. But at the end of a game, you're going to need those timeouts in a close one. So that we're always preparing to win the game. We're not just burning timeouts to burn timeouts. So that's the message that we had sent earlier in the season. We've had games like Thompson, we could have used a timeout here or there. Games in Carrington, we could have used a timeout here or there. Those are some tough losses, but we learned from that. And we didn't call a timeout. And you'll remember Danica Hansen comes and downs and hits that big 3 to go up 4. So that was probably a huge memorable moment. Danica Hansen hits another 3 to put us up 5, I think, later on in that quarter. But the dagger, when you really started feeling it, probably was that step back 3 by Riley Satcham at the top of the key, that NBA range dagger that just kind of put the nail in the coffin to put us up by 10. So those were some big moments. There's so many others too. I could talk about it forever, but yeah, those are some big shots that we knocked down in that championship game.
Back in December, you mentioned as well that some of the concerns you had were if this team, if the senior starters, they get into foul trouble, that you needed a little help from the bench, and you got that help, I think, in Kaisa Carlson and Hudson Zerfus. Hudson with maybe 2 of the best assists or near assists of the tournament, and Kaisa just filling in lots of roles when you needed to. You ran with that 7-player rotation mainly, and I got to feel like those 2 players outside of the seniors were huge to get you to the state title.
Without a doubt, yes. That's not possible without the first 2 girls that we bring off the bench. And I know they wanted a bigger role, right? Which is cool too. They want to play more. But when it comes down to that state tournament, like I said, there's so many timeouts, right? So we can play our starters more. All right. But when we needed those girls to come in, they definitely executed, especially in that semifinal game. I think they both hit 3s. Kaisa hit 2. So that was big for us. And something that maybe the fans don't really know is that those girls play pretty much 4 of the 5 spots that we have, right? Kaisa can play 1 through 4. Hudson can play 2 through 5, right? So they're very versatile players. So no matter who gets in foul trouble, we know we have somebody that can come in and fill that role. So that's pretty special about those 2 girls.
Again, a state championship there for Mayport CG, the first of Mayport CG, and then the first of Mayport CG and Finley Sharon. all time.
Yes.
Finley Sharon had one before, Mayville Portland had one before, but not for 40, 50 years. Talk about the history being made and the moment and how big it is for Trail and Steele County.
Oh yeah, and you saw it on our return. All right, our welcome back escort that we had in both those all three of those towns. Findlay, first of all, that felt like there was 15 fire trucks and police cars, and the trail of cars lining the streets in Findlay and all the way back to Portland through Mayville. Everyone making signs and waving, like that tells you right there. And that was some tears, some goosebumps, and it was just a feeling that these girls will never forget, I'm pretty sure. So that's what it means to this community. And you guys saw the crowds that were there, the Mayport fans, all right, filling those bleachers in Jamestown. Uh, all came to an end when that final buzzer sound. I know I called that timeout with like 30 seconds left, and that's a feeling I'll never forget, is when we brought those girls in and we told them we did it. So that it's pretty special. It's pretty special. And we got back in that welcome. That was the fans that showed up for that too, is how much they appreciated this team.
Take us into that timeout real quick. I remember the one you're talking about, and it just seemed like all the energy and all the emotions just came out. Who was saying what? What were you saying? What were the players saying before you guys made it back on the court one last time?
I have goosebumps right now just talking about it. Just my blood is tingling right now. But it was um, a testament to those seniors. We brought it in. They did their special handshake, the one they do before every game. And this time they allowed me to get in on it too. And led by those seniors, Danica, Raina, Riley, Reagan, and Mesa. That was a pretty cool moment for them. Just the look in their eyes, the feeling that you have at that point is the ultimate, right? That adrenaline just rushing through your body. And these girls said how happy they were that we got this, we got this, we got this. So that was a pretty cool timeout to go out there and finish those last 30 seconds. And they all were on the floor at that time. Reina did end up fouling out, which was a questionable call. I'm not going to complain about the refs, but she fouled out, so she wasn't on there at the final buzzer. But we got in there right after that. So that was a cool timeout.
In talking with all your ladies, especially the five seniors that we got a chance to all talk with after the game, and you just could tell that they were well spoken. They are great representatives of the school, and I don't know that you could have asked for a better starting five to represent this team.
Yeah, it's unreal. The testament to those girls who've been putting all the work in over the years, and their parents too, right? Obviously, these young women are very respectful. Very few times. I know Riley was getting a little bit frustrated in that championship game with some of those calls, but it is what it is. You fight through it. She came back and used her game. She didn't use her mouth. She didn't use her emotions, and she just continued to get after it. And like I said, everything was just seemed to be working with these girls. Like everything that we threw out there, they really took that to heart and listened. And yeah, everything was executed to almost perfection because of them.
And now I can say this now that the tournament has come and gone and the awards have all been announced. Of course, Riley Satcham, the tournament MVP, Ryla and Raina Satcham and Danica Hansen named to the all-tournament team. But I felt like maybe Reagan and Mesa kind of got missed on that tournament team. And in my ballot, it reflected that. I put all five because I could not pick one even that stood out. I couldn't pick out one of the five. I mean, Mesa Larson almost having a triple double in the championship game, and Reagan Zerfus leading scorer, I believe, in the state
Yeah.
championship. But do you feel like Reagan and Mesa maybe got missed in that all tournament selection?
Yeah, and it it's a bad thing about it. You can't pick everyone, obviously, and you're not going to give them all to the same team. But you're exactly right. They all did their part. How about when it was most people don't know this too, but Reagan said, "Let me guard Matea Mattern in that fourth quarter." Right? Let me guard her, and she did an amazing job on her. And throughout the entire season too, she was guarding girls that are 4 or 5 inches taller than her every game. So and then Mesa Larson almost averages a triple double. People don't know that. It just how do you not realize how she leads our team in rebounding? She's second in assists and third in scoring. So she does all the little things correctly, and yeah, just a fun team to coach. And that's not even mentioning how she does on defense. So it's complete basketball players. Like I said, we switch everything for that reason. We can put Reagan on a point guard. We could put Raina on a post, which is sometimes a little bit struggling on defense if Raina's guarding a post down low. But then we have our help on there. So it's, like I said, everything just seemed to click, and that defense was the reason why we got that championship.
You yourself named the coach of the year. I know we've talked about it a little bit in the post game, but looking back on this all now, what does that part mean to you?
So the reason is the girls, and I know that's cliche. I know it is, but it's like I said, you give them the little things and they go out there and perform it. They give them the little things in practice that things need to work on, and they go do it. So there's no complaints about it. They weren't the greatest practice players, but when it comes down to games, they're going to be competing. So I can't thank them enough. I got to thank all the coaches that helped me out too. So Coach George, Coach Bren, Coach Moorhart from Thompson, Coach Lilmone from Grafton, obviously Coach Kunkel is from Mayport, and then my mentor Dan Carr, obviously showing me how to do things. I can't thank them enough for what they've given me, and then plus all the scouts and the video that all these coaches have given me this year. It all seemed to be just a perfect storm.
You kind of mentioned the after party, if you will, the coming back into Findlay and Portland and Mayville. But were there any other unique things that came about after this tournament? Any other unique celebrations or traditions that you guys have started? Or I know some teams have mascots when they go to tournaments that they bring back. Any fun things like that?
Did you hear about the story at halftime? Yeah, so during halftime of the championship game, we had an argument in the locker room. It was a extended halftime speech because of the Fargo Moorhead Acro team. We probably should have just went out there and watched that instead, but we had an argument over the alternating possession rule about whose ball is it coming after halftime. Most girls thought it should be our ball because they got the tip. Well, I was like, no, that's not how this works. So that was pretty fun. It just tells you how loose this team was. I've done some sarcastic things in the past, like telling them that third 3-point line that they have there for the college is worth 4 points. Just weird things like that to keep it nice and loose. But yeah, that was at halftime, and I'm going to do my best next year. The first thing we're going to go over in practice is the alternating possession rule, so they understand how that works. But yeah, that's a pretty cool story. But I think just the biggest thing is how excited those girls were. You know, they were excited for each other when they won those awards, and how excited they were to receive the awards, and the smiles on their faces, even when they announced that I was the coach of the year for the state of North Dakota. I think that's testament to those girls and how hard they work. But yeah, it was, like I said, a great weekend, a great fun weekend.
Keenan, just reactions from the communities from Trail and Steele County beyond the reception coming home.
Yeah, so like they just noticed. They noticed how respectful they were to other people. All right, the way that they, the biggest thing is helping people up on the floor. When someone gets knocked down, our girls are going to be the first one there to help you up. The way they respect officials, the way they talk to people. It's just, yeah, the smiles on their faces, the cheers that they had for other people. The bench was crazy, even though they know they're not going to play in the game. It's just the way they get excited for their teammates is pretty cool. And like you said, the community, I've answered 200 snaps, texts, emails from the people supporting me in Mayport, CG, and Hatton has sent out messages too, like they support me here. This is where I teach. So it's unbelievable. It's truly remarkable of the support that I've received, and also this basketball team.
Coach, I got to say, it's been a blast connecting with you on the coaches show or during games, the state tournament, especially, and all the magic that was the end of the championship game and after the awards and the post game and all that. Again, as I mentioned on the post game that last Saturday night, the mic and the show right now is yours. Anything else you want to mention about this magical run in Mayport CG girls basketball?
Yeah, just some advice from a legendary coach, probably one of the best coaches in the state. Dan Carr said, "Stay till the lights are off, because you may never get this opportunity again." There's many coaches that don't get that opportunity to do it, but he said, "Stay until the lights off." And we didn't quite stay that long because they were still tearing stuff down. But our girls, they wore their uniforms home from the locker room, so they just didn't want to take them off. So that's pretty cool.
Quickly as well, any advice? The girls kind of mentioned it when I asked them, what did it take? What sacrifices did it take? Anything you want to mention to any young lady out there that's starting to learn basketball, or even if they're on JV or C squad and want to get better? Any advice you want to mention to them on what it takes to get to a state title?
Yeah. And these girls listened, like I said, and we have a lot of them in our program too that have this potential, this talent, and listen to your coaches. I think that's kind of the biggest thing. Listen to what we're saying and try your best. And if it'll work out, if it doesn't work out, you're going to learn from it. I mean, there's going to be mistakes. There's going to be times where you fail, and failure doesn't mean you are a failure. Failure means it's just a chance to get better. So hopefully our girls learn that from these 5 seniors and continuing it next year. But for any girls that listen out there, it's not going to be easy. And these girls, we had some tough times this year, and you just got to continue to fight. Even in that championship, our best athlete was in foul trouble, and everyone else stepped up and came through, and she didn't get frustrated. She came back and knocked down some huge shots for us. So it's just stick with the program. And like I said, listen to your coaches, and then good things will happen.
Team that goes undefeated against all Division B opponents, only 2 losses to 2 Division A teams that had pretty good runs in the postseason themselves. And again, the first title for Mayport CG and Finley Sharon as part of the co-op in school history. First title for any part of that conglomeration in 40 years. That's the head coach Keenan Konschak from Mayport CG girls basketball joining us on the Year Live Event Coaches Show. We could talk for another hour or so, but we've got to some other great guests on the show. But Keenan, thanks for the time, and go enjoy this one and celebrate how you wish.
Yes. Thank you. It's wearing up a little bit now. We're on day 3, but it's still there. So thanks for all your coverage again. You guys are awesome.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Our Year Live Event Coaches Show continues. I'm with head coach of the Goodridge Grygla Chargers, Andrew Sunberg. And Coach, let's just start with your guys' awards in the North Star Boys Conference. Coach of the Year, just kind of reflects on that honor and what it means to you and your team.
Well, it's a big honor. I mean, our conference is a really good conference, and some of the guys that practiced last night were talking about it, giving me kind of a hard time. I was like, you get a Coach of the Year award when you have really good players on your team. That's kind of when you get those awards. So a lot of it is due to them. Our coaching staff does a phenomenal job. I mean, we all kind of fill in our roles, and so a lot of credit goes to Brady and John and Cole for that too. I really appreciate everything they do for the program. So yeah, it's a really cool award. And the kids, Blake being all conference. I mean, getting all conference in this conference is not easy. I mean, there's a lot of good teams and good players. So Blake, this is his 3rd year in a row getting it, and Lewis also his 3rd year in a row, and also Lewis got Conference Player of the Year. So I mean, really proud of those two for everything they've accomplished, and really the whole team, because you need your teammates to help you out with that too. So yeah, it's really cool to celebrate, get those kind of achievements when we've had such a good year.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it, Lewis Player of the Year, and then all conference, Blake and Lewis both, and then you Coach of the Year. But really individual accolades like that are really team awards at the end of the day, because you don't get there without all the other guys.
100%, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, if if we don't have other guys pulling the rope in the same direction, nobody gets these kind of awards. So, it's cool for those two and for me for that. But I mean, there's a lot of people that put in a lot of time and effort that makes all of us look good like that.
When it comes to Lewis Jones, I mean, the accolades just continue to stack up for Lewis. 2,000 point scorer, all-time leading scorer, now player of the year in the conference. What's it like coaching a kid like Lewis?
I've done this almost 20 years and I've never coached a kid like Lewis. I mean, he's all year round, he's in the school at 6:30 in the morning shooting. I mean, he's made himself into what he is. I mean, Lewis is 5'8". I mean, he's got some things working against him, and he's maximized every ounce of ability he's been given, and he has plenty, but a lot of that's through his own hard work. He's just a great leader for the team. It's pretty awesome when you're one of your best players is one of your hardest workers. I mean, you can just point to that, like, yeah, there's a reason why Lewis is as good as he is. Do you ever see him dogging it in anything we ever do? Because he doesn't. So, I mean, it's been a pleasure, obviously, and an honor to coach Lewis.
What kind of example does that set for the younger generations in your guys' communities? Because I know at smaller schools, obviously, I mean, they're around the young kids. They can see firsthand the work that Lewis puts in. He's a great role model for the young kids around there, isn't he?
He sure is. And I just mentioned we had our senior night last week in our final home game against Warroad, and this whole senior class has left really a big imprint on our schools, our communities, our athletic programs for sure, just in kind of showing them that they've had a lot of success, this group, and there's a reason why. They work hard every day and they stay together. So, and Lewis is kind of one of the driving forces behind that.
You mentioned the individual success and the team success with this group of seniors. Now you're heading into tournament time and things are going to ramp up here. And the Section 8A is as tough as maybe it's ever been. It's toughest that I've seen it in my 3 years here. What's the mindset going into these tournament games?
We can't have a bad night. You have a bad night now, your year's over. And to be honest with you, with Warren, we could play well and they could still beat us. They're playing so well right now. We just got to, like this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we got to control our preparation and do everything we can in these 3 nights to give ourselves our best chance on Thursday. And it's one game at a time. I mean, our reward for having 20 wins is we get to play a team that's won 15 games and has beaten 2 top 10 teams in the state in the last month. I mean, usually you wouldn't have to see that in the first round if you've won 20 games. So that speaks to what you were talking about, just the strength of our section as a whole, and especially our subsection. It's really tough, and there's a lot of teams that could come out of it.
20-win team, and you guys are the 3rd seed in the section. Really just a testament to the talent around the area. A testament to you guys, because winning 20 games in a basketball season is tough as it is. As a coach, was it frustrating getting the 3rd seed with 20 wins, or where were you at with that?
Not really. I mean, Fertile got 1 and they destroyed us a couple weeks ago, and they deserve it. And Red Lake County's had an unbelievable year. I mean, they have 24 wins. So I mean, those two deserve to be 1 and 2. And like you said, we've had a really good year, but we probably deserve to be where we're at. Other years this might have gotten us a higher seed. And the other thing about it is, 3, usually when you play the 6 seed, you're not playing a team as talented and that's playing as well as the Ponies are right now. So it's not just at the top, it's the depth of it too. It's just even down to 7, 8, it's really tough teams.
How do you think you match up with Warren?
They present some problems with it for us. I mean, they're really long. I think overall the matchup it's not bad, but there's, like I said, they're definitely bigger than we are. They're also very athletic, and they got one of the best players in the area right now. Pierce he is crushing it right now. He's really confident, and he's a tough matchup for anybody, including us.
How important is it for your guys' role players, whether it be a Spencer Cohn, a Carson Robishko, to really step up against Warren on Thursday?
Brady, Coach Olson, he mentioned this to the team last week. And when he gets to playoffs, usually the top couple players on each team, they always play well. But the 3 through 7 guys, they're the ones that a lot of times determine who wins the game. So it's huge. And the one thing that I like is our role players they have a lot of experience too. And they've been in these playoff battles before. And we've been playing in close games all year long. I mean, we haven't blown a lot of teams out where guys have been resting the last 2 minutes of the game. We've had to finish games in these close games. So it's going to be huge that Carson, Russell, Spencer, Owen, Sawyer, these guys that in that part of the rotation step up, and maybe even a couple others as well.
How's practice been leading up to the tournament here?
Good. I mean, the kids, you can definitely tell. I mean, they're a pretty focused group, but you can tell there's a little switch goes on come playoff time. I mean, everyone's just a little bit more locked in, and we game plan during the year, but we definitely game plan a lot more for playoffs, especially this first round, because you get almost a week of practice where you know who you're going to play. After that, if we're lucky enough to win Thursday, then it's, like one practice, one game where you don't get that luxury anymore, but it's the same for everybody. Everyone has the same deal. So yeah, last night was good, but we need to have another good night these next 2 nights.
What are you expecting Warren to do in game plan against Lewis Jones and Blake Grygla?
They got a couple athletic guys that got some length that I expect to see a lot of zone out of them. Which we've seen this year, some on and off. But I guarantee you they're talking about those two over there. Like, we can't let those two go crazy on us, kind of like how we're talking about their best players. So I think they'll probably throw a couple different looks at us just to try to keep those two out of their rhythm. But yeah, I definitely expect them to give those two a lot of attention.
It's going to be a fun atmosphere at Northland. You guys get to play on a college court with two teams that are, right down the road, basically, from Northland. So it should be a pretty raucous crowd. What are you expecting the atmosphere to be like?
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I mean, playoffs just bring another couple levels of intensity out of the players, but also out of the crowds. I mean, it's fun. And like you said, both schools are within a half an hour of Thief River and Northland. Northland's a great place to play. We're really excited for the opportunity to play there. And yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we played there, so yeah, we're excited to be there.
If the Chargers come out with a victory on Thursday, what is that going to look like for you guys? What kind of style of basketball do you want to see your team playing?
Well, the one thing I love about my team is we have found ways to win in a lot of different styles this year, which I hope is going to pay off for us in the playoffs. I do not expect this to be a 52-50 game. I think it's going to be up and down. Warren likes to run. We're not opposed to it. So I think it could be pretty high scoring, although you never know. I mean, playoffs, things can tighten up sometimes too, where, guys, they're a little more patient than usual. But I would guess at the beginning of the game it might be tight, but I think once these kids get going, it's going to be kind of up and down. If we're going to win, couple keys, we got to rebound well. Their height could give us problems if we're not really physical on our box outs and really want to go get these rebounds. And it's got to be a low turnover game for us. Their transition offense feeds off of turnovers and maybe bad shots. So we got to be really clean in those areas. Otherwise, and they can, once they make a couple transition buckets, they just start flying and they're really tough. So we got to take care of the ball and rebound.
And then lastly, what's the message to the seniors, who their basketball careers hopefully go as long as you guys are able to, but, it is one and done here in the tournament. What's the message to the seniors, if any, going into these games, just to leave it all out there?
Just what you said, man. I mean, everyone's season is going to come to the end here within the next few weeks, right? I mean, we want to go as long as we possibly can, but no regrets. Whether that's practice every leading into it, we got to be focused, and then when we hit the floor Thursday night, just enjoy your time with each other. I mean, play hard and stay together, and these guys always do that. And don't have any regrets when it's over. Just go out there and play your hearts out, I guess, is what I'm going to tell them, and I know we will.
Thanks for your time, Coach. It's been a pleasure covering you all season long. You guys have had a tremendous year, and we're looking forward to the game on yourliveevent.com on Thursday.
Hey, thanks for having me on again, James, and thanks for all your coverage this year. We really appreciate you as well.
No problem.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
Joining us now from the West Fargo Packers, he is the head coach. That is Adam Palczewski, as the Packers are making their way to the capital city for the state AA boys basketball tournament. AP, let's just recap the EDC tournament. You get to a state qualifying game. You played Central twice in 3 years in a state qualifying game. You're playing at Cheyenne High School. Let's just kind of recap the journey that was over that week to get you here to the capital city.
You know, we started with on Tuesday, we played North pretty strong. I know we lost by 8, but we were in it the whole way and had a chance to close it down to a one-possession game at the end and just missed some free throws and layups. So we started off the week well, and then we beat the Deacons on Friday in a close game. We had control of it, almost lost it, but sometimes you got to go through those tough games and those almost and still pull it out and get a little confidence. And then, you know, we played really well for pretty much the entire game against Central. One little blip defensively at the end of the first half, but Beckett Fowl made a big shot at halftime, gives momentum, and then second half we just executed all the way down the stretch.
For you guys here, Adam, for this group this season, what does it mean to make it to the state tournament here this year?
It's pretty fantastic. We're a young crew, and we've had some really good players go down with injuries, like McCullen Anderson tore his ACL right away before he could really have a senior season, which my heart still hurts for him with that. But he's been an awesome teammate, and he makes everybody better and coaches up some of the younger guys and teaches things. And so that's been great to get him on that trip. No one else has been to the state tournament. So Tony Leo was a kind of a manager at the time. He wasn't really on the roster and didn't play in it, but no one else played in it. So it's big for these guys. It gives the young guys experience that they're going to need going forward. And it's a nice way to cap it off for our seniors.
You mentioned Tony Leo specifically here. Just what has he meant? I know I always kind of like to talk to you about Tony, particularly when we chat AP, whether it's, you know, conversations like this or just in general, because he's been a big part and you could argue a backbone of your program here the last couple of years. But what does it mean to have an opportunity for this senior class and Tony particularly, you know, to have a chance to, you know, go to that state tournament?
Well, I mean, Tony's worked really hard to get where he's at right now and overcome some injuries. And he goes at it. So, I mean, he beats on his body, and he's just a tough kid that never quits. And I really challenged him this last week. I said, if you want to accomplish the goals you say you want to, you got to dominate on the defensive end and on the rebounding end. And, you know, that was really apparent against Shanley. He had 24 rebounds, 21 defensive rebounds. We just closed out possessions that way. And then against Central, same thing. The last, 10 seconds, he had a big rebound over Eric Pay when he didn't really have position, but he just went and took it away and competed. And closing the games out like that on the defensive side is great for him. Offensively, he's doing a great job. He's making shots at all three levels. He's getting fouled, getting the free throw line. So that's great to see him do. But, the defensive end is where he's picked it up the last month or so.
And for you guys here, Adam, particularly as a team, I mean, I just kind of go back to the last handful of your games. You've been in all your games here down the stretch, right? A lot of single-digit games, whether it's been wins or losses. So the second half of the season, I guess, what has clicked with this team? Because early on in the year, I remember Minot High and Bismarck, that opening weekend, you just mentioned we just want to get guys experience. We want to get them some game reps. As you mentioned earlier with the Anderson issue, that injury that maybe turned some guys up to maybe being role players to starters. So how have you seen the last month of the season really work well and gel for your club, both on the court and off the court here, AP?
Again, it's gone back towards the defensive side of the basketball game. We really struggled in the first half to 2/3 of the year to stop teams, and now we're getting some stops when we need them, pretty key stops at key times. So that's been important to us as everyone's improved. And when you have sophomores, they just aren't always as physical as seniors are. So you got to teach them what the level of play is on the defensive end going forward. So we've done that, and our sophomores have gotten better defensively, and that's helped us defensively, where we don't have the pressure to score every single time down the court. We can not score and just go get a stop, which has been good. On the offensive side, again, guys are just finding their roles. We're making some shots. We shoot a pretty good percentage from the 3-point line, but then Tony Leo has been really effective going down low and getting buckets and ones against other teams. And in our last 10 games, we're 6-4. So that's kind of a little bit above 500, kind of where I thought we'd be this year going forward the whole way. I was hoping for 20 games, we'd be, let's say 12-8. That would have been a good year. It just took us a little longer to get going.
For you guys here, Adam, the backcourt play of some of those younger guys, with Sam, with Beckett, just what has the backcourt provided here, continuing to mesh and gel kind of throughout the season with those two in particular?
Well, those two have played together for a long time, so they know each other and how to play, and it's just getting them to gel with everybody else and learning their roles. So now they kind of got it figured out. Both kids can play point guard, handle the ball, they make good decisions. Both kids can make shots when they need to. And then both guys are really coming along as students of the game. Beckett has learned a lot this year about how to play, how to become a screener, because such a tremendous shooter, you can't help off of him. So when he screens for a kid like Tony Leal or sets a flare screen for Sam Glant, they can't switch it because you can't leave that guy. So that's been good. And Sam is similar in that way, where he's a pretty good scorer at all three levels, and you can't really switch off of him. So those guys are figuring stuff out. They're learning how to pass the ball ahead, throw it to the open man on cuts and curls, and becoming better passers. So those things are all things you got to grow with as you get older. And these guys are a lot of sophomores, so they've had a lot to learn. They've done a good job learning it.
The one thing here, Adam, that's different this season compared to last season, you wouldn't have seen Minot or any Western competition really outside of maybe one team if that was in your non-conference. So how do you kind of go through it this year, seeing these guys, even though it maybe feels like a century ago, with Minot High and Bismarck where you open up the weekend? How does that help, or what's the game film like now, knowing, okay, a little bit of some of these players playing against a Minot High or Bismarck or the West competition compared to other years where you really weren't sure from a player's perspective what you were getting into because you never saw him, through the course of this season here, Adam? How is that helping this year?
I really liked having more non-conference games and playing good teams from out west because that's who we have to play this week, obviously. The best thing about playing Minot and Bismarck right away is we were tested. We failed that test, and we know how physical they are and how fast they play and all those things that they do. We can't simulate their physicality in practice. We're not there yet. We're still pretty young on the practice side even. But at least we know who they are. And we feel like they don't necessarily know who we are because we're so different as the year's gone on. Minot's going to bring it. I mean, they're going to play defense. They're going to get after you. They're going to rebound. They're going to do all the things that Coach Winchesky has won 6 state titles with. So it's a tall order to go in and beat them. But I think we got some confidence knowing that we're a better team, much better team than when we first played them. And hopefully that helps us out.
Final thing for you, Adam, before we let you go, ultimately at Bismarck, what do you want to see from your guys here once you get to that opening tip, roughly at 2:00 on Thursday afternoon to open up the boys' state tournament?
I just want to see them compete and play without any fear. Just go there. We're playing with house money, and when you're playing with house money, you just let it ride, So that's what I'm hoping my guys take at it and play as hard as they can on both ends of the floor, and just, if they're open, shoot it, let it fly, and only good things will happen from there.
Adam, thanks so much for your time and best of luck here this week in the capital city.
Thanks, Chase.
Joining us now is the head coach of the Fargo Davies Eagles, again, Bart Manson, as they win it 88-65. A three-peat here, Bart, first and foremost. That's a tough thing to do. It doesn't matter if it's regular season, doesn't matter if it's tournament or state. Able to win the regular season, able to be tournament champs 3 consecutive years. Let's just start there before we talk about more superlatives, adjectives you can throw out with Mason Clable on this team. But what did you like best about the team this week here for the EDC tournament?
Well, I just thought that we had a lot of great performances from a lot of guys throughout the week for us, and you got to have those things, people will talk about and they'll go through and they'll talk about Mason's night tonight, which was incredible, absolutely incredible. What that guy has had to go through this year, and then to end up the EDC championship game with an effort like that is just says a lot about him. And, this week, he goes and becomes the all-time leading scorer at Davies High School. And then tonight he decides to go out and break his own record. 47 was the record of his, and now he went and got 53. So he sets the bar high for himself. And I just love coaching him. I love coaching all these guys, and I can tell you this too, is that, what about Alpha Kamara on the defensive end? Rebounding the ball, like going up and getting in, challenging, blocking shots. Those are things that are difference makers. Mason might be that offensively, but Alpha is that defensively. And so they're just Jackson Beiswinger, who's had a great year, Dan York, who's been a steady player for us, for the past couple of years too. And so these guys have been through it. Dan, Jackson, Nick and Peter and all these seniors that we have, Caleb, and they've been in this group for three-peat. And, this is our 7th region championship in 10 years.
It's one of those things, Bart, where I said when you look at the last decade of Davies basketball, you've almost owned this tournament. You've either been here or you've won it in a multitude of ways. What makes this team so good during this tournament specifically, do you think?
I think it's because we've played a lot in these games. We talked about that last night, where even Central hasn't been here. We have been here. So, these are things that, that our young guys sitting on the bench, they take a look at and they learn how to compete, and they learn it. It's a different level tonight, and you got to go out and you got to earn things. People aren't going to give them to you. And, and obviously, and you got Davies rolling in, and people are going to go and they're going to play even harder, and so our guys got to raise that bar all the time. And, I'm just, I'm very fortunate to coach a bunch of good players and good kids who want to go out and compete for me, and I just love them. I love them.
Sellout crowd. If they had the fire marshal in here, they probably had to kick some people out here, Bart. How much fun was it the last 2 days in this gym? I know the EDC's normally at the Shield Center, and awfully everyone likes to play there, but for this kind of 1A version of the EDC tournament, how much fun was it from you from a coach's perspective?
This is what I said. People could have complained about it and stuff like this, but this is the venue you have to get to go to next weekend. So whatever, right? And so we talked about in 2015, we won the EDC tournament here. So let's go win it again here, And so you can't let things like this get in your way of what you might want to have your dreams be, And that's to go to the state tournament, hopefully put 3 good games together and maybe come out in the end,
What have you liked best about this team down the stretch here, Bart, for this particular club? You've won 10 straight games now. You've obviously been playing really well, continuing to grind. Obviously, Mason was up, but other guys found different roles. He comes back, and then you maybe utilize when he was gone to your advantage at that point. So what do you like most about this team rolling to the capital city?
I thought our execution tonight was great. We did such a nice job. North does a lot of confusion on defense because they're switching everything. And so it takes you a little while to kind of find the matchup that you might like. And then from there, you're able to, figure out what you want to do. And it took us a little while. We were going down at halftime just thankful we were only down 2, because they came out and they were kind of rolling, and we just hung in there, and then number 3 gets hot and then takes care of some of that stuff, and we start making some plays, and some other guys start making some plays, and pretty soon, we're down 2 at halftime, and then we talked about the first 4 minutes of the second half coming out and being strong, and we got some stops, we got some scores, and so then all of a sudden they're playing catch up. And that's what we needed tonight.
Final thing for you, Bart, before we let you go, let's finish off with Mason Clabo on number 3 here, 53 points. I went to your website at halftime to double back what the scoring record was going. If he gets another 24, that's close to 50, able to break his own record. When you see Clabo get going in the way he was, that downhill, that aggressive, that attacking mentality, not settling for the threes, especially coming off a little bit of an injury here, what did you see from him tonight that made you go, okay, Mason's kind of where we know Mason can be on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I just thought Mason scored well from all 3 levels. He scored, we put him in the block a little bit tonight, and he scored there. He made some threes, he scored there, and he was able to get by and be able to score in the paint a little bit too. And so that's crucial to kind of keep defenses, on their heels. And I just thought that he did that well tonight. He's so smart. He finds other guys. He might score 53, but he'll come out of the stat sheet and he'll have 5 or 6 assists too, finding guys. And so yeah, a heck of a performance from him, and we needed it. So appreciate all your guys' stuff that you've done all year. You and I have talked about this before about your live event. There's nobody that does high school sports, and you guys are out there doing it, and I love it because there's a lot of good talent right now in the high school levels around our area, and we got some special guys at Davies Live Network. That's why we don't see you guys a lot until the tournament time, but I just want to say, Chase, that you've always done a great job with what you do, and we appreciate all the work that you do. I don't know if there's anybody who sees more high school basketball than you, man.
It's been fun. I got 11 games next week, and I'll be at the state qualifiers, which is new, to the division. We'll be watching from afar to see what's going to happen. And Bart, this week, Jamestown, Minot, Bismarck, Fargo, a lot of meaningful games in the state. I think the 3-class system from a fan's perspective, sure, it maybe makes me work a little bit harder, but I'm a kid in the candy store at this time of the year, Bart. It's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah, it is. This is the fun time of year. You're kind of January, come out of January, and then you get into February a little bit, and you start getting towards the end of February, and you start getting excited again, and so it's a fun time of year. And you're not coming out to the state?
Not coming. We got state qualifiers. We got those 4 big ones.
That'll be fun. That'll be a fun time.
It'll be a lot of good. Bart,
definitely the 3-class system was a huge improvement to the state.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to see what happens, and best of luck to you guys trying to cut down the nets out in Capital City.
Thanks a lot. Okay, appreciate it.
That again, Bart Manson will continue after this.
College goes far beyond the buildings, classrooms, and the tests. It's about making new friends, trying something different, and discovering your purpose. It's about getting involved, supporting your community, and joining the conversation. It's about learning, growing, and finding your passion. This is not your average classroom. This is the University of Minnesota Crookston.
Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9 in Ada, invites you to order your new Chevrolet vehicles. From the Silverado, Trailblazer, and Traverse, Lee Brothers is your authorized Chevrolet dealer, providing sales and service to the area since 1975. For ordering your vehicles, talk with Mitch Smurfer J. Trust the experts who know your vehicles best and take advantage of great Chevy certified service offers today. Lee Brothers Sales, Highway 9, Ada. Call 218-784-2000.
I'm Tylee Johnson. I'm confident in the arena. And when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
I'm Lily Bell. I'm confident on the court, and when it's time for college, I'm confident Bank of North Dakota will help me make good student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Joe Lancella with the winning head coach, Dustin Brodina of Devils Lake.
Coach, a tie game at the half, what kind of changes, if any, did you make it for the second half?
Well, what kind of changes we made is we started out with our defensive plan right away. We got up right away on that first quarter, and then we kind of went away from our defensive strategy in that second quarter, and then, our bad defense kind of led to that offense for them, and then we couldn't get going on the offensive end. So we shored that up at halftime, what we were trying to do there, what they were trying to do, and take it away from them. And I think we did a good job of that in the second half.
Your son Parker had a strong game, and YLE to learn for the second straight night.
Yeah, those guys are competitors. They don't want to lose. They're going to do whatever it takes to win, and they played hard. They played great defense. They rebounded well, and they hit the open shots when they were there.
We talked earlier about Deng Deng and the possibility of double teaming him. He wound up getting a boatload of points, but nobody else hurt you.
Right. Deng Deng's a fantastic player. He's one of the best players in the state, if not the best player in the state. He's so athletic, and you really can't contain him, or could put him in check just a little bit. And that was our goal, double team him as best as we could, especially when he got downhill, and not let those other guys beat us, not gamble on those other guys and play straight up defense and hopefully get the rebound and get going, But I thought we did a good job, and it was able to pay off in the end.
Now you play for the region championship on Thursday, which I think you were expected, maybe not expecting to play Thompson in that game.
Yeah, we played Thompson 2 weeks ago here, one of our last regular season games, and they're a scary team. They got all the tools. and they're going to be an extremely tough matchup for us on Thursday again. You know, we squeaked out with that win. And I knew that they were going to make a run. I mean, this is a mini state tournament between these 4 teams. I mean, it's fantastic, 4 teams. And it's basically a survive and advance type of mentality, you know, and it's going to be a great game. Thompson's playing good, and hopefully we can bring it.
And both these games today would not have been out of place at a state tournament.
No, definitely not. You know, you got 4 of the top 5 teams in the state right here, and we've been beating up on each other all year, and you can tell we kind of know each other pretty well already, and you know who's going to hit the shots down the stretch, and you know, it's going to be fun Thursday night. You know, especially that 3rd place game. You win, you survive, or you lose, you go home, and nobody wants to really go home.
Dustin Brodina, coach of the Devils Lake Firebirds, thanks very much. Congratulations on the win today, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. James, back upstairs.
We come back on our post-game show. Grand Forks Red River able to win it with a pair of seniors, Hannah Litzinger alongside with Jocelyn Schiller. First, let's start with Hannah, who hit the game-winning 3 in this one. Jossie drove, got a double, kick it out. Hannah, there's about 8 seconds left when you let that one fly. What's going through your mind once you saw it go through the cylinder, knowing that you got your team up by 1 with that made shot?
Yeah, my heart rate went down a little bit after that. I was so nervous shooting that shot. And that wasn't the play, but it worked out, so that was good.
This atmosphere, what was it like playing in front of a jam-packed crowd that's literally to the rafters? Once that went through, could you hear yourself think for a second there, hearing your fan base get up and cheer?
Yeah, I felt a lot more relaxed. I was like, we need to stop now, and that's what we did.
For this one here, Jossie, to earn this championship as a senior with some of your fellow seniors, how sweet is that one to kind of get that off the bucket list here for Grand Forks Red River girls basketball?
Yeah, it was really important to us. We've been here a few times and we haven't been able to come out with the win, so we really wanted it today. And once Hannah made that shot, then we knew we won. It was good.
42 points. I know sometimes it takes 10 rebounds, sometimes it takes 10 steals, but 42 points for you. You got to line a lot. What was working offensively for you specifically here, Jossie?
Yeah, I definitely was looking for my shot as much as I could, and if I didn't have the shot, any of my teammates would knock them down like Hannah was, so I think it was really working, and everyone was just shooting good.
For your team here, Hannah, to go as the #1 seed to state, there's still obviously unfinished business to be done once you get to Bismarck next week. You'll have the bullseye on your back, no doubt about it, but what does it mean to go as the #1 seed from the East to that state tournament?
Yeah, we checked this off our bucket list. This is something that we wanted to do. And going as the #1 seed, we just need to know that everyone's coming for us, but we're ready for that.
What's a trait that you best like or best describes this year's version of Raiders girls basketball?
I think heart. We have a lot of heart when we play, and that's what gets it done for us.
Jossie, same question. What best describes this version of the Raiders?
Yeah, I think just our effort. I think we come into every game and we know if we just put everything out there, then it's going to take care of itself.
So the next couple of days of practice, what's it going to be like as you kind of get ready for state? You've been through this before, but what's the next couple of days as you make your way west, to the Bismarck Event Center and get ready for another state tournament?
Yeah, we'll definitely look at some of the teams that'll be there, but we just need to work on our stuff and make sure we come into that tournament the best we can be.
One of the funnest games you've ever been a part of in terms of this atmosphere for you guys. We'll start with Jossie first.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, there's definitely a lot of horse people here, but I think our fan base did a good job at helping us through this.
Yeah, no doubt. Felt like a state tournament environment. Hannah, for you?
Yeah, it was crazy and loud, but it was so much fun.
Congratulations on the win. Best of luck at state next weekend.
Thank you.
We'll continue after this.
Thanks so much for joining us this week on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, and continue to join us every Wednesday night here through March. The Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation is the presenting sponsor of the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. I'm Chase Miller. Enjoy the rest of your night and join us for more basketball coming up throughout the week here on YourLiveEvent.com.